Dorothy is apparently one of the best free legendary champions Raid has released in quite a while. But then also, the Cowardly Lion is about to join my account, and I do not have enough legendary books to book both Dorothy and the Cowardly Lion. So which one gets them? And here's the problem. I think Dorothy might be the better champion for most accounts, but I'm starting to think that the Lion might be the better champion for my account. Ayo, what is groovy? What is good? It's your boy Papa Capes, and we are back with yet another Raid Shadow Legends video. Thank you so much to Raid for sponsoring this video and for hooking us up with our own download link that you guys can find in the description down below. Using that link directly supports me and directly supports the channel. If you choose to start with that link, you'll be greeted by Tholan Foulbeard right off the bat, and as you progress just a little bit, you'll then meet the likes of Ugo, Tagore, and Mausoleum Mage. And right now you can use code SUPERVICTORY to secure Pelops or code WRATH to secure Padraig. And that's not all, because you can secure a third legendary as part of the Echoes of Oz event, which will be Dorothy Gale, simply by logging into your account for 7 days during this event. And on the 7th day, Dorothy will be greeting you on your account. Let's get into the video. Now, before anybody takes this as some definitive guide, it's definitely not. I haven't spent 3 years testing these champions, but I actually went and I did some homework. I've looked at what the books actually changed to their kits, and I've also looked at what experienced players and more experienced content creators have had to say about these champions. Then I compared that against my own account, because I'm slowly learning that who is the better champion and who I should build are two completely different questions. So let's figure out a couple of ground rules for this discussion. What do books actually improve on these champions? Where can I use these champions? What roles do I already have covered? What problem does each champion solve on my account right now? And what happens if I simply wait? Because legendary books are way too expensive for me to use the extremely scientific method of simply saying, ooh, shiny new champion, let's book them, which has definitely been my method before. Alright, so let's start with Dorothy. I'm not going to go through her entire kit because I have already, but let's break down what her kit does. The A1 removes a buff. It weakens, nice boss utility. The A2 is possibly the most important skill in her kit. AoE decreased defense, AoE decreased accuracy, and if fully booked, 100% application chance and a 3-turn cooldown, which is really strong. This is something that could definitely help with Ozilda, who I recently made a video about as well. I mean, that decreased accuracy I mentioned can literally matter while fighting Ozilda. Then if we look at the A3, it's an AoE, steals all buffs, spreads those buffs onto your team, AoE stun as well, and if fully booked, 100% stun chance and a 4-turn cooldown. That's not really a niche ability. That's one of those abilities where you start scrolling through Raid and going, yeah, I could probably use that there. Then, if we take a look at the passive, if Dorothy dies, your entire team ally attacks whoever killed her. When Dorothy gets revived, she immediately fires her A3. So she dies, everyone jumps the murderer, then you revive her and she immediately comes back stealing buffs and potentially stunning everybody. That's actually ridiculous. Then she's also got a 19% speed aura in all battles. That's also quite important. So let's summarize Dorothy real quick. Pretty simple. She does a lot and she brings a lot to an account. Decreased defense, decreased accuracy, weaken, buff removal, buff stealing, buff spreading, stun, speed aura, death ally attack, that sounds so weird to say, and a revive interaction. And I think one of the most important things to highlight is that she doesn't need one boss to justify existing. So if I book Dorothy, I'm almost certainly going to find multiple uses for her on my account. But now I have to ask myself the uncomfortable question. How much of this do I already have on my account? I've already got decreased defense options. I've already got support. I've got revivers. I've got crowd controllers. I've got buff manipulation. I've got strong general PvE champions. I'm not saying I've built them to make them as strong as possible, but I've got those strong options on my account. So yes, Dorothy absolutely will improve my account. But does Dorothy currently unlock something? That's harder for me to answer. So who are we comparing her to today? Not necessarily a comparison of anything, it's purely just who I need to put my books into first. Let's go to the Cowardly Lion. The Cowardly Lion looking all groovy, and let's discuss him a bit. This cat comes in and actually complicates everything, because if it was just Dorothy, I probably would have booked her without hesitation, without debate, without discussion. But I mean, the Lion then comes through and he's a defense-based damage dealer, and that matters because he gets his offense and survivability from defense, which means that he won't directly compete with the other nukers on my account for gear. That doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be easy to gear him. It's just like an important nuance to make mention of. He's a defense-based champion, but building him well won't necessarily be cheap because of that. I mean, for him to impact PvE with damage or with control, he's still going to want 100% crit rate, defense, crit damage, accuracy, and speed. So that's not like just put him in 6 random defense pieces and congratulations, you've built Simba. His A1 right here, I'm not going to go through his kit in depth, but we're going to make mention of a few things. His A1 matters more to me because obviously if you guys saw the video I uploaded yesterday, it was a Fire Knight related video. We just finished Fire Knight Hard 7 20 times, but I also know that in future it might be Fire Knight 8 and then Fire Knight 9 and then Fire Knight 10 on hard. We need to continue strengthening our team for that content. His A1 is a triple hitter and each hit can reduce turn meter by 5%. Then the damage ramps based on fear or true fear activations. 3 hits, turn meter manipulation. Are we seeing where this is going? Fire Knight, Fire Knight, Fire Knight. Then if we look at his A2, this is probably where you want to prioritize getting your books to land, in my opinion. Again, I'm not an expert, but the A2 buffs the entire team with increased defense, gives fervor, has an AoE hit, then ignores 20% defense as well, places True Fear for 2 turns. If fully booked, that's a 100% chance of True Fear, and on a 3-turn cooldown. Fervor obviously itself gives 10% increased damage dealt and 10% reduced damage taken. So technically what you're getting is damage, survivability, and control all in one skill. Kinda nice. Then if we look at his A3, team-wide counter-attack. And also, team-wide 30% reflect damage for 2 turns. Unbooked, that's on a 5-turn cooldown. Booked, 3-turn cooldown. That's where my decision starts being a bit weird, right? Because like I said, I literally just made a video about Fire Knight Hard. I've cleared stage 7, I've tried making the team reliable, and I'm working through these Marius missions. But I know that Fire Knight Hard requires freeze-based turn meter control once the shield comes down, but the Lion's counter-attacks and reflect damage can help tear through the Fire Knight shield stacks. So yes, Dorothy improves my account, but the Lion might solve an immediate problem that I have. So if we look at my Fire Knight team, if you missed the video that I uploaded yesterday, feel free to go and give that one a watch. Obviously, we had Yakal, Creodan, we had some ally attackers, and then Glaycat for the recovery and the revives. But I already saw in the comments that you guys have been helping me with suggestions and advice to optimize the team. Talking about speed order, talking about skill presets, talking about different ways to approach the ally attacks, and getting more freeze attempts once the shield comes down, which I will implement. I will be digging into that. I will be taking that advice and actually implementing it. Now, I'm also about to get a champion who literally puts counter attack and reflect damage on the entire team. What does that mean? More ways of stripping the shield, potentially more A1 activity, and once the shield comes down, Lion himself has a triple hitter A1 with turn meter reduction. Suddenly, this isn't theoretical anymore. So if we directly compare Dorothy's books to the Lion's books, Dorothy needs 11 books, right? And the main thing you want to book on Dorothy, in my opinion, is the A2 to get that cooldown from 5 turns down to 3 and to get the 75% buff chance to 100%. And then the A3 will go from a 6-turn cooldown to a 4-turn cooldown, and 75% becomes a 100% chance of stun. So those books, that's a massive improvement. Unbooked Dorothy and Booked Dorothy are very different champions in terms of consistency. And then let's take a look at the Lion. The Lion requires 10 books in comparison to Dorothy's 11 books. His priority is also the A2, from a 4-turn cooldown down to a 3-turn cooldown, from a 75% buff chance to 100% true fear. Then the A3 goes from a 5-turn cooldown to a 3-turn cooldown, and that A3 cooldown is absolutely massive to me because counter attack and reflect damage becomes more available. So I want to reiterate that this is not a good champion versus a bad champion. This is good investment versus good investment. So just briefly, let's take a look at who's easier to build. Dorothy's main priorities will probably be speed and accuracy, right? And that's because her job is relatively focused. Go fast, land stuff. And then the Lion, he's obviously going to want crit rate, defense, crit damage, accuracy, and speed. So although defense-based damage is nice, the Lion asks more questions of my gear. Then we look at something that I've also been thinking about regarding this. There's actually a third answer. The first answer could be book Dorothy. The second answer could be book the lion. But there's the third answer. Book neither of them. You don't have to spend books on champions simply because they exist. You could potentially look at building them without books, testing them, seeing exactly where they fit, waiting for CVC with personal rewards, and decide based on actual performance. I keep asking which one deserves my books, but maybe I should first ask whether either of them needs my books today. Let's get to a verdict. Let's get to a verdict because booking neither of them is kind of boring. So let's actually choose. Do we book Dorothy or do we book the lion? Or if you want to kind of touch on the last one I mentioned, book neither for now. Let me know down in the comments below. I think for most accounts out there, I think probably I would recommend booking Dorothy first. And I purely think because of the versatility that she brings to an account. However, I think for my account, I am leaning more towards the Cowardly Lion. Because I don't think it's objectively better than Dorothy, but because Fire Knight Hard is an actual problem I'm facing right now on my account, and it's connected to Marius, so I'm actively trying to improve on that team. And Lion brings mechanics that directly interact with what Fire Knight requires. If books turn him from a nice new champion into a champion that materially improves an active progression area, that is exactly what I've been telling myself I should be using my resources for. Except there's one more little hiccup in everything. So this is the one more little hiccup that I was talking about. There has been testing which identified that Cowardly Lion is actually Dorothy's strongest overall Oz partner because their kits complement each other really well. Lion supplies the true fear and damage while Dorothy brings decreased defense and weaken and can then spread his buffs. Apparently these two want to be played together. Wonderful. So the real answer is obviously I need 21 legendary books so that I can fully book both of them. That's all it is. So let me know what you guys think about this down below. If you have Dorothy, are you going to book her? If you have Cowardly Lion, are you going to prioritize his books? Are you in a place where you've got enough resources to book them both? You guys let me know down in the comments below right after this video goes live. Thank you so much to Raid for sponsoring this video and for hooking us up with our own download link that you guys can find in the description down below. Using that link directly supports me and directly supports the channel. Happiness is a choice. Kindness is free. Leave your mark, yo. Peace out.